Ah, hello everyone. It's Ian from Cromford Collector's Corner. I'm here this morning to follow up on last week's video, which has been a bit of a success and it surprised me a little bit. So thank you so much to everyone that's watched that. As it stands, about a week later, or maybe 4 days later or something, and it's had about 700 views. And I've got 100 subscribers now on my Cromford Collector's Corner YouTube channel, which is brilliant, and I'm super pleased. And I'm amazed to see so many comments and stuff, and people talking to each other on the YouTube thing. Yeah, that's really cool. So I'm gonna just talk briefly a little bit about the modern Doctor Who and what's happening. But there's just a couple of things I'd like to say first, and particularly in response to some of the comments and stuff that I've seen. So obviously, Doctor Who, it's very contentious, and I think it's fascinating that people are so emotionally invested in it. It's both amazing and also lovely, but also I don't know. I think it says a lot about us, that we care so much about it. So what I would say, so obviously some people are not enjoying the kind of direction it's gone in. And sure, the snot creature wasn't necessarily up my street, but sure, I mean, I'm not 8 years old, and I think what we have to remember is when people are getting very, very emotional about this, is one of the reasons they're emotional is because Doctor Who was so important to them in their childhood. And I think it's really important to remember the whole new generation of people is getting a doctor. They're their doctor. So whether you like it or not, we have to surely be happy that another generation is getting to benefit for the reasons that we benefited when we were younger. And I can't see how we can be negative about that. But I do understand that people don't like it, and I do understand it. But, one thing I would say is that in my business, obviously I meet loads of different people, well, some people, I meet loads of different people, and, I mean, from young to old, different types of Doctor Who fans, and everyone has their doctor. And I think it's really important that we remember that. So, yeah, so for a lot of people, I meet people that, Peter Davison is their doctor, or Jodie Whittaker is their doctor, or Peter Cushing is their doctor. And, I love that. And I love that people are really passionate about it. Is it not the height of any art form to prompt an emotional response? Surely that is the greatest claim that any art form can have. Perhaps I'm going a bit far. Anyway, yeah. So moving on to just touching briefly on what we talked about last week with my probably completely and utterly incorrect theory about Sutekh the Destroyer. There's one other thing I would just also like to say that I forgot to mention last time, and that is the snow, or whatever it is, that we've seen a couple of times from Ruby Sunday's, from the church on Ruby Road. Yeah, so if, again, making a bit of a leap, one of the rare times that anything is powerful enough to get into the TARDIS, again, happens in Pyramids of Mars. So Sutekh appears in the TARDIS at the beginning of that story. And, it shows just how powerful he is, because nothing can enter the TARDIS, right? Anyway, so the snow thing that we're seeing in this now, could that also be Sutekh? Not sure. Obviously, the other theory that I'm seeing, a lot of people talk about, is Susan. And yeah, sure. There's some things there that I'm finding it difficult to ignore. So obviously, Susan is the Doctor's granddaughter and has already been mentioned. I always perceived that Susan was a time lady, or at least born on Gallifrey. maybe that's not the case. I don't know. Anyway, obviously, one of the great things about Doctor Who, and also why I personally have complicated feelings about Bi-Generation, is there's something about the tragedy of saying goodbye to characters that you love, particularly when you're young. And that very much is the case with Susan, because, as you all know, I'm sure, William Hartnell leaves her, the first Doctor leaves her on Earth in the Dalek invasion of Earth, and has this wonderful speech, which has been used several times in Doctor Who anniversaries and things like that, where he says he's going to come back. He never goes back, as far as I'm aware. Obviously, he does see Susan again in the Five Doctors, but you don't really get a lot of chance to talk in that, do they? And there's something really tragic about that, but classic Doctor, right? Just like, yeah, well, see you later. So could this be, are we going to see Susan again? Is the Mrs. Flood character, is she Susan? Is Ruby Sunday's mum, is she Susan? I don't know. There's this thing about this Susan Twist lady. So you will have seen this, I'm sure, that an actress whose name is Susan Twist, apparently, has appeared in small roles in several of the last episodes. And then obviously we have this, there's always a twist at the end. So I can't really not see how, unless this is a very clever kind of jape, my guess is that we are going to see Susan come back, whether as some sort of villainous role or I don't know. But I've got to guess that it's going to be really tragic. But that, as I say, is part of what Doctor Who is all about. And, you know, bring that on. I can't wait to see that. Yeah. What else have I got to say? Yeah. So that's me for talking about Doctor Who and stuff. But what I thought I'd show you now, because I am a little shop, a one-man shop in a semi-rural location. And I do have lots of things for sale. So I'm going to show you the Wall of Pleasure, which every week I put different stuff on. And this week, for the first time ever, I've gone entirely one topic, and I've gone Doctor Who, and there is some nostalgic gold on this wall. So there's all sorts of things on here. I'm not going to go through it all, but I can tell you now that this is kind of highly demonstrative of my affordable wares. So I've got some vintage Doctor Who annuals, I've got some Target paperbacks, I've got some Doctor Who VHS, and I've got some Doctor Who DVDs. Nothing on here is super valuable. I think the most valuable thing on here has to be the 1965 Doctor Who annual, hasn't it? It's not a great copy, but I've put £15 on it. Anyway, I'll show you that first. Excuse me. I'm going to show flesh. This is the 1965 Doctor Who annual, which you will recognise, of course, because it was brilliantly adapted to put David Bradley's first Doctor on the cover of this in An Adventure in Time and Space, the brilliant docudrama about the origins of making of Doctor Who. I loved that. That was like a really magical moment in that for me. I was like, oh my God, it's got the annual and it's changed. Oh, I love that. So look, we've got the Monoptera and the Zabi and all of that. Wicked. It's got a bit of wear, this. Top and bottom of spine. Sure. But it's the 1965, it's the first Doctor Who annual. Not the first Doctor Who associated annual, though, because you will know, of course, that the Dalek annuals came out before this. I think the Dalek World. I'd have to check that. Nevertheless, that is the first Doctor Who annual from 1965. I've got some other ones here from the 70s and 80s. I've got the 1976 one. I've got the 1977 one, which is a slightly larger format. Oh, I had all these as a kid. There's some creepy stuff in these. I don't know. I'm sure there are Doctor Who experts out there that can tell me who actually wrote this stuff, because I genuinely don't know. A lot of the stories in there, they're not credited, and the artists are familiar to me, but I don't know who they are. Someone may very well comment and say, that's the 1978 one. Brilliant. This is the 1982. Don't know. 1982 maybe, 1983, not sure. And also that one, what would that be? That's Black Orchid on there, so I don't know what year that was. 1983. Anyway, I've put those in nice bags because that one, and that one are all quite nice condition, unclipped, unmarked, really, really clean, nice. A couple of these are price clipped. When I say price clipped, for the people that don't know what that means, you used to get like a little thing on the corner on the first page that'd say like 75p, and your nan all used to cut it off so that you didn't know how much the angle cost. Yeah, so these ones are price clipped where applicable. There's 77, 76 one. One of them's got like a crosswords part filled in, but like, you know, they're between £5 and £10 each. If you want some 70s or 80s Doctor Who stuff, I couldn't recommend those enough. Next down, we've got some Target novels. I'm not going to talk about Target novels too much, but this for me is pretty much the reason I read anything as a child. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of viewers will remember the days of not actually ever being able to see Doctor Who. There was like tons of it that I'd never seen up until, you know, it started to come out on VHS. And even then they were prohibitively expensive. So really it was the DVDs that I started to see older stuff. So the way I learnt my Doctor Who lore was through Target novels. And there are some gems on here. There's only a couple of first prints. There's a lot of like later printings. But they're absolutely beautiful. I'll show you some of them. That's Jerry Davis's The 10th Planet. Oh, these are gorgeous. Really lovely. What have we got there? We've got Meglos, we've got Invisible Enemy, Ribos Operation, Marco Polo, Hand of Fear, 10th Planet, Green Death, Cave Monsters, Space War, Dalek Invasion of Earth, and the Auton Invasion. I'll show you the Dalek Invasion of Earth. Is this Chris Achilles artwork? Oh, I love these. I used to go to Matlock Library every week, get one of these out. I was probably more likely to read the W.H. Allen hardbacks, which are very scarce and highly collectible, if you ever come across any of those. And next, so these are like a few pounds each. Even like the sweet near mint ones are like a £5. Most of them are £3 or £4. And as I say, the annual's £6, £7, £8, something like that, apart from the Hartnell. Then we've got some old school VHS tapes. So this is me through and through. This is so ultimately niche that I'll probably never sell these. But there's some cool ones. And it's nostalgic gold for me for one very particular reason. So what we got on here, we've got things like K9 and Company. We've got the Hartnell years, which has the pilot on it. These are a few pounds each, like £2. So go nuts. That's quite unusual. That's the Crusade in the Space Museum box set, which is worth a bit more. It's got a bit of damage to the cover. But that's got like a CD in it, and it's fine. Pick that up. Put that up. Right. Yeah, so the VHS tapes. So when I was a kid, as I say, I can vividly remember just desperately wanting to watch the old Doctor Who stuff, not being able to. I think the very first Doctor Who VHS tape that I got was extremely expensive. I'm not going to say how much it was, but I know it was extremely expensive. In fact, I think it might have classified as both my birthday and my Christmas present, because it was so expensive. And it was the classic John Pertwee's story, Day of the Daleks. I don't know if it was this edition. I don't remember if it has complete and unedited on the front. But the one I had, I must have watched 100 times. Really cool. And at the bottom, I've got some Doctor Who DVDs and one Blu-ray. So again, these are very affordable, £4, something like that. What have we got here? Some of my all-time favourites. Earthshot. The Talons of Wing Chiang. The Peking Homunculus. Dalek Invasion of Earth, Resurrection of the Daleks, Ghostlight, Tomb of the Cybermen, and the Blu-ray of Spearhead from Space. All very affordable. Yeah. So, guys, I'm going to leave it there and hopefully try and repair that CD. No, it's not broken, really. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there and say thank you very, 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 very much for watching. I really appreciate it. There's like, I'm told I'm meant to say subscribe and hit the like button and share it, because that would really help me. As I say, I'm just a one-man thing. I apologise if I've got anything wrong. It's entirely likely. I talked about all sorts of stuff, not just Doctor Who. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone. You all take care. If there's anything I can do for you, find me on Facebook, leave a comment. I'm on Instagram, secondhandgeekery. And I will be starting, I do monthly auctions on Facebook. The page is called CCCAP. If I remember, I'll leave a comment somewhere with that. I'm going to start a new sale this month. There'll be 50 lots of stuff. Starts on the 21st of May. So you'll just go onto Facebook, go onto that page, leave a comment on the lot that you're interested in. They run for 1 week, and they'll come to an end on Monday, the 28th at 8 o'clock. And then I'll just contact everyone the next day, and we sort it all out. So hopefully there'll be some interesting things for you on there. All comic books of different types. Thank you so much, everyone. You all take care, okay? And I hope to speak to you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.